It's 12:31 in a quiet Italian town. The morning market is alive with noise. Merchants are calling out, coins are clinking, and bread is baking. And then the sound changes. A line of men in brown robes walks through the crowd. Bare feet, dust-covered, faces thin from fasting and sun. They carry nothing. Someone laughs under his breath, but the men begin to sing. A simple melody rises over the noise. Steady, grateful, and unafraid. People stop to listen. The song is too joyful for voices that are so poor, and the crowd watches as the men disappear down the street, leaving the echo of praise behind them and one uncomfortable question: what if joy doesn't depend on what we own? From the That's Jesus channel, welcome to Coach, where church origins and church history actually coach us how to walk boldly with Jesus today. I'm Bob Balch. On Wednesdays, we stay between 500 and 1500 AD, and in this episode, we're in the year 1231 AD, and we're going to see how a group of ordinary men found freedom and thankfulness in a life with nothing left to lose. Francis of Assisi. He had been gone for 5 years. His frail body was buried, but his way of living refused to stay still. The men who had walked beside him, his little brothers, kept walking, and they still begged for their meals. They still slept wherever night caught them. They still thanked God for hunger and for help. They called themselves the Friars Minor, the lesser brothers. They took it literally. Each promised to own nothing. No house, no coins, no spare tunic. Whatever came to one belonged to all. And if someone gave bread, they shared it, all. If no one gave anything, then they sang anyway. Their guide was Francis's rules, a short set of words that cut deep. The brothers shall claim nothing as their own, but live as strangers and pilgrims, serving the Lord in poverty and humility. Now, this wasn't theory, it was daily dependence. When the door slammed in their faces, they thanked God for the reminder that even rejection could be grace, and they went on. When a door opened, they stepped inside with laughter. Gratitude wasn't a mood, it was a muscle that they trained every day. They learned what Francis had called perfect joy, to find peace when comfort disappears, to praise when plans fall apart. And to the brothers, joy didn't arrive after life improved. Joy was proof that God was already there. People didn't know what to make of them. Merchants saw beggars who refused to stop singing, and town priests saw young men who obeyed Jesus' words to sell what you have and give to the poor, as if those words were still literal. Farmers offered them crusts of bread. Children followed them through the streets, and not everyone admired them. Some monks thought that they were reckless. Some bishops feared that they made the church look rich by comparison. But the brothers never argued. They smiled and they bowed and they moved on. Their silence sometimes said more than their sermons did. They worked where they could. They tended lepers that no one else would touch. They mended roofs. They carried water. They prayed for the sick. They didn't talk about poverty as an idea. They lived it in the cold and in the dust. And their joy was contagious. Some merchants probably thought, they have nothing, yet they look richer than I do. By 1231, small Franciscan houses dotted Italy and parts of France and Spain. Young men from wealthy homes gave away their inheritances, and they joined them. What drew them wasn't misery, it was freedom. Freedom from the anxiety of protecting what they owned. Freedom to trust God one day at a time. And through their songs, Europe began to hear a new kind of sermon, one that didn't come from a pulpit, but from empty hands lifted in thanks. By 1231, everyone had heard of the Barefoot Brothers. They owned no land, yet their influence stretched across Europe. People called them foolish, yet their joy made others restless. In towns where they stayed, markets grew quieter for a moment, as if everyone wondered what they were missing. Some priests defended them, grateful for their reminder that holiness is not measured in gold thread or grand buildings. Others worried that the movement might embarrass the church and its riches. But the brothers never set out to start a protest. They just refused to believe that trust in God and trust in worldly security could coexist. When famine came, they sang. when they were mocked, they simply smiled. And when they were refused food of any kind, they blessed the house anyway. It seemed that they had nothing but gratitude, and somehow that nothing was enough. Their way of life didn't make sense in a world driven by fear of loss. Yet the longer people watched, the harder it became to dismiss. Joy that survives hunger looks like truth, and gratitude that endures insult sounds like freedom. And as their movement spread, it raised questions that still sting. If joy doesn't require wealth, why are we so afraid to let go? Simplicity still startles the world. Today, many churches measure success by size and polish, by how bright the lights are and how big the crowd is, how many programs can fit on the calendar. But what if credibility doesn't come from scale? What if it comes from sincerity? Across the globe, small fellowships and house churches are rediscovering what those brothers knew, that joy grows when possessions shrink. Shared meals in living rooms sometimes feed souls more than catered events in sanctuaries. Gratitude spoken around a kitchen table can echo so much louder than a 1,000-watt sound system. This isn't about romanticizing poverty. It's about refusing the fear that drives endless accumulation. Simplicity makes room for presence, for prayer, for people, for peace. And when churches live that way, the world notices again. The Franciscan legacy whispers the same challenge today. Trust more, need less, give freely, and rest easy. So what about us? Joy doesn't wait for everything to be right. It grows when the heart whispers, "This is enough." But our culture tells us the opposite, that enough is always just one more thing away. The brothers' lives exposed that lie. They didn't praise God because life was easy. They praised Him because He was enough. Maybe your next act of worship isn't adding something. Maybe your next act of worship is releasing something. Maybe it's releasing time that you've guarded too tightly, or releasing stuff that fills your house, but not your heart. Maybe it's releasing worry that sounds reasonable, but feels like fear. You don't have to walk barefoot to live unburdened. You just have to loosen your grip. Gratitude doesn't shrink your life, it sets it free. So ask yourself, what can I let go of today that's weighing me down? What can I thank God for right now, even if it's not what I wanted? Joy isn't the reward for comfort. It's the fruit of trust. And trust always starts with open hands. If this story of the brothers who found joy in having nothing challenged or encouraged you, share it with a friend. They might really need to hear it. Make sure you go to thatsjesus.org for other Coach episodes and resources. Don't forget to follow and like and comment, review, and subscribe, and tune in for more Coach episodes every week. Every episode explores a different corner of church history, but on Wednesdays, we stay between 500 and 1500 AD. Thanks for listening to Coach, where church origins and church history actually coach us how to walk boldly with Jesus today. I'm Bob Balch with the That's Jesus channel. Have a great day and be blessed. You know, I've been trying to live more simply while producing this podcast, which mostly means drinking cheap coffee. Wendy says that's not exactly Franciscan poverty, but it's a start for me. I told her if the brothers could survive barefoot winters, I can survive store brand caffeine in a cup. She was not convinced.